Hey everybody, this is Kenneth Paget. I hope you're well. I'm just sitting here at my desk and I'm reflecting on where we've been so far in the story. We've made it through the Old Testament portion and are headed into the New Testament. I've really been enjoying it. It's exciting. I hope you're enjoying season 1. I might do an episode at the end to respond to your questions. So if you have any, please send them to sirpeter@wolfbanebooks.com or just drop us a line on social media. I wanted to also let you know that the third book in the Story of God trilogy is now available for pre-order on our website, wolfbanebooks.com. It's called The Story of God, Our Savior. We are so excited about this new book and can't wait for it to make its way into homes and hearts. The psalmist in Psalm 77 says, "I will remember the deeds of Yahweh. Yes, I will remember your wonders of old. I will ponder all your works and meditate on your mighty deeds. Your way, O God, is holy. What God is great like our God? You are the God who works wonders. You have made known your might among the peoples." And this is immediately followed by an exultant retelling of the Exodus from Egypt, many generations earlier. "With your arm you redeemed your people, the children of Jacob and Joseph. Waters saw you, O God. Waters saw you and they trembled. Surely the deeps shook. The clouds poured out water. The skies thundered. Your arrows flashed about. The sound of your thunder was in the whirlwind. Lightnings lit the world. The earth shook and quaked. Your way was through the sea, and your path through many waters. Yet your footprints were not discerned. You led your people like a flock by the hand of Moses and Aaron." The psalmist says that he regularly remembers, ponders, and meditates on God's mighty deeds of deliverance. The great story of the Exodus radiates in his heart. The story of God our Savior worshipfully surveys God's loving acts, his mighty deeds of deliverance across the vista of the biblical story, with the cross of Christ lifted up on the highest peak. Our hope is that you will take your family on this journey. Ponder together the Exodus. Remember God's exile-ending kindness and meditate on Jesus' triumph over sin and death, such that the great story of the new Exodus radiates in the heart of your home. And that's the heartbeat behind this new book and the whole trilogy itself. We want the story of the Bible to shape the imaginations of everyone in your home and in your church. We don't call these books children's picture books. We call them family picture books. So please head over to wolfbanebooks.com and pre-order it now. It ships on February 12th, so maybe this is a book your family can read and reread as we approach Easter. So that's the announcement. Send us questions for season 1 of this podcast and consider grabbing a copy of our latest book, The Story of God Our Savior. I'm really excited to jump back into the podcast next week. Who knows, perhaps we'll meet the one called God with us. All right, that's it. Yahweh bless you and Yahweh keep you. May Yahweh make his face shine upon you. All right, so here's a little super bonus nugget for you guys who listen to this episode. That blessing, that benediction, that priestly benediction that I just said. Yahweh bless you and Yahweh keep you. May Yahweh make his face shine upon you. That's from Numbers 6. And what's really cool about this, so you have to go back to the tabernacle. And if you remember in Numbers chapter 1, Numbers chapter 1 through 4, God rearranges the camp of Israel. So they're about to set out from Mount Sinai to the promised land, and God rearranges the camp of Israel such that he is in the center of the camp. So this is kind of like a paradigmatic, a proto city of God, where God is dwelling in the midst of his people. It's a city. It's a city of tents, but it's a city. That's why it's kind of like a proto type situation. But this is the first time I mentioned in that episode. This is the first time that Yahweh has dwelled in the midst of his people since Eden, which is wild to think about. So it's like huge significance right here. Numbers 1 through 4. Maybe Numbers is not your favorite book. And maybe Numbers 1 through 4 is not your favorite part of the book because it's a bunch of numbers. But if you just kind of track with what's happening, you're seeing the arrangement of the camp. And the arrangement places Yahweh in the center. And this is the fulfillment of that covenant formula that God had said before, that he would be their God and they would be his people and he would dwell in their midst. This is the fulfillment of that covenant that he made at Sinai. Well, what's interesting about the priestly benediction in Numbers chapter 6, this is really cool. This is like super nerdy stuff, is that benediction has 3 uses of the word Yahweh, and every other word in the benediction, there's 12 other words. So it's kind of an interesting dynamic that literarily the structure of that benediction has 12 Hebrew words and the usage of Yahweh in the midst of those words. And it's interesting that it's 3 uses. So the grammatical structure of the blessing actually mirrors the camp itself, as the 12 tribes of Israel are now seeing God in their midst, in the midst of the camp. So that's a cool little nugget, I thought, that priestly benediction. And if you notice, I kind of rearranged it a little bit, shortened it. So I said, Yahweh bless you and Yahweh keep you. May Yahweh make his face shine upon you. So if you count it up, I did the same thing. I did 3 uses of Yahweh and 12 other words. Of course, it's a pretty big paraphrase redaction. But yeah, that's a cool nugget. There's really cool things like that all through the Bible. So I hope that blesses you. All right. See you guys later.
This episode of the Story of God podcast was presented by Wolfbane Books. Please visit us at wolfbanebooks.com or on social media at Wolfbane Books.